Q4 of 2025 was the period that I experienced the most amount of insults on social media. Not because I was wrong about the markets, but because I was too early. Bitcoin was floating around $120,000, and I personally sold majority of my bags around 117k, and I told people, don't buy anything, wait, a crash is coming. People called me crazy, people said I was capping, some called me a hater, and then the crash happened. So now that the dust is settling a bit, let's talk about the parts that most people don't want to hear. Listen, I'm not here to argue with your emotions, I'm not here to sell you any bullish hopium, and I'm definitely not here to beg you to like me. I'm here to tell you the absolute truth. We are in the early stages of a bear market, and there are still people right now that are still saying that prices are going to go up. Now these are the same people that were screaming buy when I was saying sell. Their narrative have not changed completely, and my belief is that they are probably going to stay bullish until the end of the bear market. Q4 of 2025 was peak madness. Every timeline was completely the same. This is a super cycle. Bitcoin is going to 200k. Alt season is guaranteed. If you are not buying now, you regret it forever. And I was just here sitting like, bro, this is obviously distribution happening right now. Good thing about that situation is that I made lots of videos about it, so there's proof. It wasn't even hard to see if you could just understand how the markets behave. When price is high, the crowd is loud, and that's usually when smart money is quietly exiting, using the retail hype as exit liquidity. So I told people, stop buying and let the market show you where it wants to go, which I believed was down at that time. But unfortunately, most people don't really want direction, they just want reassurance. They want you to tell them Bitcoin is going to $500,000. So they insulted me, and of course, the market slapped everybody. And now, some of those same people are out there saying that, oh, they knew it was coming. No, you did not. Now, look, I get it. It's definitely a hard pill to swallow. Some people still hope the bull run is continuing. Some people think we're maybe just resetting and gearing up for another rally. I'm not necessarily here to crush your hope for fun, but hope is not a strategy, my people, because the truth is, if you zoom out and look at how the crypto cycles typically behave, this is the period where the market stops rewarding impatience. This is where the market punishes overconfidence, and then the real money gets made, but later, by the people who can wait. So let me say it clean in case you've been missing everything that I've been saying since. 2026 is going to be a bear market. I'm saying it with my full chest. Not because Bitcoin is dead or because crypto has failed. No, nothing silly like that. The answer to the question is, it is simply what the cycles do. After the mania comes silence. After the euphoria comes boredom. After the everyone is a genius phase comes the phase where everybody starts to ask, do you really know what you're doing? And the truth is, most people don't. So what happens next? Liquidity is going to dry up. Interest is going to fade out. Retail will disappear. Influencers will stop posting because there's really nothing to talk about. And most of the silly projects out there that had no backing in the first place will quietly die. Now that is typical bear market behavior. There's no drama here. This is just reality. Now let's zoom out a bit beyond crypto. A very huge reason why people could be bearish in 2026 is quite simple. People would not have appetites to gamble anymore. Apart from the fact of the pain of losing money, the economy does feel quite unstable. And in unstable periods, people prioritize cash, safety, necessities, predictable returns, not meme coins or anything like altcoins or nothing like that. Risk-on assets struggle a lot when the world feels shaky. And right now, the world feels shaky. Which brings me a little bit to the fundamentals, the political pressure that is currently going on right now that a lot of people are not really talking about. Donald Trump. This guy is actually a huge problem. Should I even say a huge problem? I think he's more or less just an actor. But that's a conversation for another day. Trump brings aggressive economic energy, and one of the biggest tools he has been using is this tariff thing. What are tariffs? Tariffs are basically taxes on imported goods. Meaning, if a country exports products into the US, Trump can raise the cost of those products coming into America. So why does Trump use tariffs? It's because it is leverage. It is a way to pressure other countries, protect local industries, and control negotiations. But here's the problem. Tariffs can also raise prices for consumers. It can disrupt global supply chains. It can trigger retaliation from other countries, like China, for instance, and overall create uncertainty in the market. And you know the thing about markets hate uncertainty. Moving to the more recent situation with Greenland. Greenland is strategically important. Military positioning in the Arctic. Shipping routes are opening up as the ice melts, and there are also rare earth materials that matter for tech and defense, all in that strategic location of the Greenland. So when you see headlines about Greenland tension, just know that it is not random. It is a part of the global chessboard. Control routes, control resources, control power. And when global tension rises, what happens? Investors reduce risk. They don't run to altcoins, they run to safety. Now here's where I'm going to sound a bit more disrespectful. Forget about the news. I'll tell you why. It's because the chart is always ahead. News is usually the excuse after the move happens. People love to say the market crashed because of this headline or because of this news, but usually that's not the case. Most times Bitcoin crashes because it is time to crash. Simple. The market doesn't move when the news comes out. The market moves when positioning is complete. The news basically just gives people something to blame. So yes, the tariffs does matter and the global tension does matter as well. But I'm telling you, the charts already told us way ahead of time. As a matter of fact, the fundamentals showed up late just to justify it. So the question is, what do you do now? What do you do in this period where the market is not really exciting? The answer is very simple. Protect your capital at all costs. Manage your risk. Build patience. Wait for structure. Gather the money that you want to invest and just keep it. Wait for when the market is done crashing and then buy. That is the strategic plan for 2026, and that is personally what I'm going to be doing. Of course, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, so I hope you understand that fact. Okay, so now I want to go into the charts where I can show you a couple of things as regards to price projection and where I think would be the best time to buy. All right, so this is Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, and if you're looking at the chart right now, you can see that there's a trend line that people who have been following me for the longest period of time know that I have talked about severally. But this trend line here has clearly been broken, and you know what happens with trend line when they break? It usually means prices are going to keep dropping, and that's what we have right now so far on the weekly time frame. Right from on the 17th of November in 2025, Bitcoin has indeed formed a smaller trend line. If we go into the smaller time frame, I guess this will be clearer to see. We have formed a smaller trend line here, and we can more or less call it like a rising wedge as well, but it's a channel anyway. But a wedge and a channel, it could be either of that, but it looks more or less like a wedge, more or less like Bitcoin is forming this something like a bear flag, where we have prices moving somewhat like this. So such a move like this usually leads to more downside. So once the prices break below the trend line, which is this trend line here, once prices break below it, then we expect further crashes to the downside. That's basically what I think is going on right now. And throughout this year, I'm going to be taking a completely different approach towards the market. I'm going to be making a total of maybe 1 or 2 trades in a month, right? Because I believe I'm going to be swinging a lot in this market moving forward, and this is going to be my strategy for 2026, and those in my private group are going to be the ones to experience this firsthand. So if you want to join my private group, make sure you send me a DM to do so. But nonetheless though, let me show you something on the 12 months time frame, the 1 year time frame. Actually, understanding candlesticks is a very crucial part of being successful as a trader. And looking at this time frame here, I can see that what we have right here is somewhat of a shooting star, right? This is the whole of 2025, what you're looking at right here, in all represented in this one candlestick. The whole of 2025 started from 74k or 75k thereabouts. Maybe it didn't start from there. It actually started from 80 something k, dropped to 74k around February, and then made a high in late November / October. Actually, it was in October that it made this high. 6th of October, 10th of October, this was the high in 126k, and then that was the week and led to this. So we have a shooting star here. So basically what I'm looking at here is that for this next year, we are going to have a bearish candlestick, and because this is a shooting star is usually marks the top of a move, right, to the upside. Now if we're looking at this kind of move here, we would notice very clearly that this is only a week information. A wick is forming here. That's why we have this green candlestick here. It is eventually going to turn bearish, so we're going to have the body looking crazy like this. But this is throughout the year, so it can, you know, just stop somewhere around here. But basically it seems to me like it's going to be a bearish here, and maybe late January or, you know, early February will be the period where we'll know. I think what will determine this move, what would determine if that candlestick is going to turn bearish, is going to be this right here, which is what I just talked about right now on that other chart. Yeah, this one is going to be determined by when this breaks. If whenever this trend line breaks, that is when we are going to get, that's when that move is going to start. And I'm definitely preparing for that move as well. I'm still in my short positions, by the way. Yes, some of them have reduced in profit percentages because of this rally to the upside, but I'm of the opinion that I'm not even touching them. I'm of the opinion that it's going to keep dropping much more. And I'm looking at around here for a price target, around here, actually this area here, which is around 50 something K, but that's a later discussion. First of all, we need to get here to 75K. This is the first stop for this price, somewhere around here. So once prices get here, then we can start talking about what happens next. But I believe it's going to be another leg down. But I'm going to go into more information in regards to technical analysis in the next video. So if you've enjoyed this video so far, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.